Hi, everybody. Bryan Norcross here on Friday afternoon, July 10th, with an update on Tropical Storm Fay and what's going on in the tropics. Let's take a look at the satellite here. And boy, you can clearly track the center of Fay. There it is right there. And notice that the clouds are not super bright white around the center, and that's because there's not much weather associated with the center. The bad weather is this band that's up to the north. We'll look at that on radar in just a second. That's where the heavy rain is, up to the north and off to the west for the most part. It looks like Fay is just about to make landfall, and it looks like it's going to happen. You see that little gap in the coastline right there in North Atlantic City? That's called Little Egg Harbor Inlet. It's just south of Beach Haven and Long Beach Island, New Jersey. That's exactly where Hurricane Irene made landfall in 2011. And if Fay doesn't go over that, boy, it's going to be very, very close, and it's going to happen anytime soon. But remember, that's just the center of the storm. As I said, the bad weather is not really related to the center. In a tropical storm, it's very often not. It's actually well displaced from the center. National Hurricane Center is estimating the top winds to be about 50 miles per hour. There have been gusts along the Jersey Shore here in the 50-mile-an-hour range, and lots of gusts on Long Island over 40 miles an hour this afternoon. But it's not going to get any much worse than that. This is going to go by pretty quickly, and it's going to dump some heavy rain in some spots. All right, let's take a look at the radar as it is right now, and you can see that. Remember, the center is down here. There's that Little Egg Harbor Inlet right there. But here's the band of heavy rain, and now it's moved up to northern New Jersey, up into New York State, over into eastern Pennsylvania, where there's very high country over there, and that's likely to be where the biggest problems from this storm is going to be. It's going to be in those mountainous or at least very hilly areas well away from the coast, because that's where the water will just pile up and drain down into the creeks and rivers. Although the National Hurricane Center is not expecting river flooding with this, there will be local flooding, and there are flash flood warnings now in effect up there. Here are some of the rainfall amounts so far. You see it was very heavy down here in Delaware and Maryland, right near Ocean City, Maryland, where they had some flooding. We will get more rain up in this area up here, I'm sure, before this is over. The storm has passed by this area down to the south of Atlantic City, so those are just rainfall amounts so far. All right, here's the way the cone looks from the National Hurricane Center, and there you see, first of all, you see it's gone by overnight, Sunday night, and Sunday morning. It's way up into Canada. So this is going to happen tonight and tomorrow in New England, and you see where the heaviest rain is. It's in this purple band here, and you see that's to the west of where the track of the storm is. So the cone is where the center is most likely to go. The heaviest rain here off to the west, and including the Montreal area, including up into Quebec City, and of course, as we saw, through Albany and upstate New York and the Hudson Valley there, heavy rain, and some other isolated heavy rain over to the east in New England. All right, let's take a look at our part of the world. Now, of course, we've been dominated by dust outside here in South Florida. It's been dusty. It's been hazy in the morning, which is actually, in the morning when the sun is low, that cuts down on the intensity of the sun, which is kind of a good thing. But it does also kind of trap the heat in, so it has been unusually warm. But here we are a week from now, and you notice we're seeing a kind of a gap in the dust up here over us, and indeed a tropical disturbance is forecast to come our way. We don't think it's going to develop into anything. You can kind of make it out see the shape of the wind flow here. It's got a bit of a curve to it, kind of like that. Well, that's an indication that there's a disturbance coming by. When it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. Again, these are long-range computer forecast models, and we'll just see. Right now, it looks like a moisture surge coming by middle to especially the end of next week. Where are we in hurricane season? Well, we're here on July 10th, so we're still in a part of the season that on average we don't have a lot of activity, but notice we're not that far from August 1st, where the likelihood of having a named storm really picks up. So Obviously, July is normally relatively calm, even though we've had 6 storms this year. That we've never had 6 storms as far as the records going back to 1851 at this point in July. This year we have, but they haven't been from the tropics. The tropics have been shut off. But the indications long-range models are maybe a little change. And, of course, normally we don't get a change until we get later on into August. So that's the tropics on a Friday afternoon. We're looking good through the middle of next week in South Florida, and Fay should be moving out of the northeast. Have a good weekend.